Hey, what's going on? It's Chris from Chris Likes Bike. Thanks for coming. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're one of the few that have subscribed or checked it out, welcome back. So yeah, today I'm on my 2023 Yamaha YZF R3. And as I said in the intro, I love this bike. It's such a fun little bike. So a little background, this is my 2023 R3. It's my first motorcycle, and what a great first motorcycle. It's so much fun. It's light, it's easy to flick around, and what's really great about it is with such a small engine, you know, being I think it's 321cc parallel twin, you can just, you know, get all the way up there in the revs, and you know, you're not really getting in trouble so much. You know, you really got to try. Unlike my other bike, the 8R, you know, this isn't the kind of bike that I really want to take out on the highways around here, you know, being in New Jersey. But for back roads, for around town, or, you know, maybe a city bike, this is really such a great little bike for that. So what's it got that I love? Well, the engine is really great. It's a 321cc, like I said. It's a parallel twin, which means it's not going to make a lot of power. I think it's something like 30-ish. I don't have the numbers with me. But torque-wise, it's pretty good for what it is. I mean, you have to realize this is a mid 300-pound bike. Now, granted, I'm in the very, very low 200s, high 190s. So it's got to carry my fat ass around, but that's not too bad. I mean, it does pretty good. So yeah, the engine's really, really good. It sounds pretty cool. I don't have any exhaust or anything on here. Honestly, the only thing I've done to this so far is throw a Quad-Lock on. Shout out to Quad-Lock. Speaking of Quad-Lock, I just ordered one for the 8R. I'll be doing a video on the install for that soon. I'm also going to be installing the USB socket so I can have a, you know, phone charger. It'd be really nice. So stay tuned for that. Should be probably in the next week or so. Anyway, segue. So what else do I like about this bike? The transmission. The transmission's actually really good. It's not a quick shift like the Suzuki, which, you know, it's only a 300cc. Do you really need a quick shift? No. It'd be cool, but you don't need it. You know, I hopped on and I knew how to ride it. I haven't ridden this thing in about a month and a half, really. But it's just very, very easy, very forgiving. The clutch is just really nice. It bites. I mean, it's right there. I mean, you squeeze about a third of the way and you're already engaging the clutch. So that's pretty nice. The brakes on this thing. Let me let this guy go past me and I'll show you how good these brakes are. I'll give you a hint. They're not the greatest, but they're not bad. Alright, let's get to the speed limit. And there you go. So you can definitely feel them. I mean, I would hope so. I would definitely hope so. Yeah, the brakes aren't bad. You know, it's a light bike, so you don't really need to have some sort of, you know, high power, you know, Nissans or you know, Brembos or anything like that. These brakes do a very, very good job of doing what they're supposed to do, which is stopping. The ABS on this bike is really good. I haven't gotten in a situation lately where I needed it. However, I was in the rain my first time riding, actually. My first time ever riding this bike. That was fun. So yeah, I got caught in the rain. And, you know, I hadn't even done MSF yet. I just had my permit. And, yeah, I think ABS definitely saved my butt that day. Because I think if I didn't have ABS, I probably would have slid and that would have sucked. So yeah, ABS is great. Brakes are good. What else do I like? Well, I like the look of the bike. I mean, the bike looks fantastic. I originally was going to get an R7 as my first bike, and you know, not a problem with the dealership that I went to. You know, it wasn't their fault, but it was just taking forever to get one. They'd already hit their allocations for that year, I believe, and nice stop. And yeah, they took forever to get it. I ordered it in May, and they actually didn't get a VIN number, or rather an invoice, until August. So I'd already had my license, I'd already bought this. I told them, you know, sorry. And I mean, I'm not sorry. You know, the R7 would have been really cool. It was that white, that really nice white. I friggin' love that white. It's a shame they got rid of the white for this year. But yeah, I went to my local dealership, Extreme Machines, talked to my buddy John, and you know, we looked at a few options. We looked at the Ninja 400 at the time. Now it's a 5. A couple other smaller bikes, and I just really wasn't interested in anything but the R7. You know, at the time I was like, oh, a small displacement motorcycle is going to get boring, I'm not going to like it, I'm going to keep it for like 6 months and then I'm going to get sick of it. And well, that's just not the case. You know, I ended up walking out with this bike. Well, rather I should say I trailered this bike out of there. And yeah, I still love this bike. It's you know, it just does what it's supposed to do, which is have fun at a relatively safe power and speed and look cool while you're doing it. I mean, it really does look cool. So I mean, you can probably tell from my shadow here that I'm not, you know, lean forward. This is not a super sport. You know, this isn't like a ZX4 RR or something like that. You know, this is basically an MT-03 with a fairing. You know, obviously it's got clip-ons. You know, it's a bit more sporty than the MT-03, but it's a nice position. It's a nice seating position, very neutral. You know, if I'm sitting upright, my arms are pretty, you know, they're bent a little bit. You know, my legs are in a nice comfortable position. I can put like the ball of my foot on the pegs there, and you know, I can scooch my butt back a little bit and I'm good. You know, it's a nice comfortable bike. I've ridden this thing, I've not taken it on like a long distance ride yet, but I rode it about 100 miles in a day, basically like all the way up to, you know, up the shore, down the shore and back. And it was pretty good. I felt pretty comfortable. Would have been nice to have cruise control. Yeah, it would have been nice to have cruise control. You know, my wrist got a little sore, but you know, other than that, you know, it's fine. You know, if you're gonna commute on this bike, I could definitely see that. You know, I work from home. I don't have a commute, but I could definitely see myself commuting on this bike, so long as I'm not going on like an interstate or any of the, you know, the busier highways here in Jersey. You know, 65 and below, I feel fine on this bike. Once you start going into the 70s and 80s, which is the flow of traffic on like the 95s, you know, 995, 295, whatever, it gets a little bit pucker inducing. You know, you don't have that power at the top end, and you know, there's not even really that mid-range power, so you're pretty much, you know, you're in the right lane, you're leaned forward, you're tucked, and you're puckered. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You know, if you're looking into one of these, just definitely keep that in mind. So yeah, I guess I kind of did a bad segue into some of the negative things, and you know, there's really not that many bad things about this bike. As long as you know what you're buying, you're fine. You know it's going to be a smaller bike. You know it's going to be a slower bike, and that's cool. But you're going to get killer gas mileage, and you're going to get a really easy bike to ride. I mean, this bike is super easy to ride. The fact that I bought this before I even, you know, did an MSF, literally didn't know how to ride a motorcycle at all. You know, I trailered it home, not because I didn't want to ride it, but because the insurance took like 3 days to take effect for some stupid reason. I mean, the day I was allowed to ride it with insurance, I was doing walks through my driveway. I got really bored after about 10 minutes and said screw it, took it to a parking lot, and the rest is history. Yeah, so, you know, it's an easy bike, like I've said probably 100 times at this point, and the fact is, this is a great bike. If you're looking for something like this, if you're looking for a smaller displacement bike for, you know, whether it's good gas mileage for a commute, just for something fun, it's your first bike, whatever it is, I can highly recommend it. You know, I'm the kind of guy, I don't look for the cheapest, I don't look for the most expensive things, I look for value. I want to get the most value for my money. And you know, I weighed the pros and cons of this bike and the Ninja 400, the RC390, you know, bikes like that, because I knew at that point I was going to keep it below 600cc, and you know, the value was here for it. I believe this MSRP is still $54.99 out the door, thanks to Jersey taxes. It was about $72, which isn't too bad. If you can buy it used, you're gonna get it probably for MSRP, which is wonderful. You know, if it's a 21, 22, whatever. And that's still, you know, that's really a great value. I think new is still a good value. You know, I just had a really distinct feeling I was gonna love riding this thing, and if I didn't, oh well. So yeah, so that's about it. Any things I would change with this motorcycle? I think one thing might be the exhaust. I might throw like a slip-on here, similar to what I'm looking to do with the 8R. You know, this does sound pretty good considering it's only 321 cc's. I mean, it sounds cool. You know, it doesn't need a full exhaust. You know, it's ridiculous to do that. But a slip-on just to open it up a little bit and be able to hear it when you're going more than 50 miles an hour, you know, might be a nice thing. So things I would change. Number one would be the exhaust. You know, I wouldn't throw like a full exhaust kit on this thing. I think it'd be a bit ridiculous. You know, it's such a small displacement, but that said, this does have a nice sound to it, and I think just having a slip-on and opening it up a little bit would really, really do wonders for this bike. That was a nice bump. You know, you give it a rev. I don't know if you can hear that. I can barely hear that, so you probably can't. You know, it would just be nice to be able to hear this bike when you're going 50 and up, you know what I mean? Just to know it's actually running. And other than that, I don't really think there's anything else I would need to do to this bike. Obviously I threw a quad lock on here, that's a given. But that's really it. You know, if you're going to make this a track bike, which I'm considering, obviously there's going to be a lot more things to consider. But if you're just riding this around town, if this is just your regular street bike, yeah, just an exhaust. I wouldn't tune it. I wouldn't do any of that stupid stuff. I think it's, you know, it's way too much for a bike like this. You know, when I said my out the door was 72, if I do a full exhaust on here, I'm already at the MSRP of, like, you know, a GSX 8R, or, you know, a good middleweight bike that's going to make twice as much power. This bike's never going to make that power, you know what I mean? So just keep it simple. You know, keep it stock. That's what I would do. Again, unless you're going to ride it on the track, different ball game. But you know, as is, this is a wonderful little bike, and obviously I'm going to recommend it because I own it. But yeah, if you're just starting out or whatever, definitely take one for a ride if you're, you know, if a dealership allows you to do so. I think you'll have a lot of fun with this bike. Even you know, having the 8R, this still feels plenty powerful. It's definitely not, you know, gonna throw you back or anything like that. You're not gonna accidentally pop a wheelie. I mean, you really gotta try. I would say this is a safe bet for pretty much anybody. The only people I wouldn't recommend are people that think that small displacement bikes are stupid, because they're going to hate themselves afterwards and realize that small displacement bikes are ridiculously fun. Yep, so one other thing, I did mention the seating position, but also the seat height, you know, step over height. So this is a little bit lower than my GSX 8R. I believe it's about 30 inches. I'm like 5'9", I have like a 30-inch, something like that, inseam. And when I'm stopped with this bike, I can flat foot it. You know, swinging a leg over this is no problem. You know, it's definitely a low bike. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. So 2023 Yamaha R3, which you can apply this to 2024 as well. Do I recommend? Yes, 100% recommend it. Love it. Have a great time. I'm Chris. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. That'd be pretty cool. You know, I'm still just starting out, so I ramble a lot. But yeah, I'll get better at this, I promise. And again, coming soon, I will be doing the install of a quad lock on the GSX 8R, as well as the USB socket. And that's that. See you in the next one. Bye.